He was only 13 years old when Why Do Fools Fall in Love made him the biggest star in America. By 25, Frankie Lymon was dead on a bathroom floor with a needle in his arm.
You want me no more.
But his story? That's just the beginning. What you're about to discover will change how you listen to every classic R&B song from the 1960s. These 10 artists didn't just die young. They were destroyed by an industry that saw them as products, not people. And the most haunting part? Every single one of these tragedies could have been prevented. I'm about to show you the dark truth behind the greatest era of soul music. And trust me, by number 1, you'll understand why this story had to be told. Number 10, Johnny Ace, Pledging My Love.
Forever, my darling.
The year was 1954, and Johnny Ace had just recorded what would become his biggest hit. Pledging My Love was climbing the charts, and the young R&B sensation seemed unstoppable.
Just promise me.
But on Christmas Eve, backstage at a Houston auditorium, Johnny would make a deadly mistake that shocked the music world.
Make this fire in my soul, dear.
Born John Marshall Alexander Jr. in Memphis, Tennessee, in 1929, Johnny Ace became one of the most promising voices in rhythm and blues.
Dear, to keep love and to hold.
His smooth baritone and romantic ballads earned him 7 consecutive #1 hits on the R&B charts. Songs like My Song, Cross My Heart, and The Clock made him a star.
Days, I'll never part.
Big Mama Thornton, who was touring with him, called Johnny the sweetest singer I ever heard. He was only 25 years old, but already a legend in the making with a voice that could melt hearts across America. On December 25, 1954, between sets at the City Auditorium in Houston, Johnny was playing with a .22 caliber revolver backstage.
Commanding to keep love.
He had been drinking and was showing off for friends and fellow performers. Big Mama Thornton, who witnessed the event, later said he was playing Russian roulette. Johnny pointed the gun at himself and pulled the trigger, telling everyone, "It's okay, gun's not loaded." The gun fired. The bullet entered his head, and Johnny Ace died instantly. He was just 25 years old.
I'll never part from you.
Pledging My Love was released posthumously and became his biggest hit, reaching #1 on the R&B charts and number 17 on the pop charts. The irony was devastating. Johnny's pledge of eternal love became his epitaph. Number 9, Jesse Belvin, Goodnight, My Love. Jesse Belvin's voice was so smooth that Sam Cooke called him the greatest singer I ever heard.
Good night, my love.
His song Goodnight, My Love became the closing theme for DJ Alan Freed's radio show, heard by millions every night. But Jesse's promising career ended on a dark Arkansas highway in 1960.
And bring you closer.
Born in San Antonio, Texas in 1932, Jesse Belvin was a musical prodigy. By his early 20s, he had co-written Earth Angel, one of the most iconic doo-wop songs ever recorded.
One thing I'd like to know.
His solo career took off with hits like Goodnight, My Love and Guess Who. Jesse's voice had a silky quality that influenced generations of R&B singers. He wrote songs for other artists and was considered the complete package, a singer, songwriter, and musician.
Good night, my love.
In 1959, he signed with RCA Records, positioning himself for mainstream crossover success. The future looked incredibly bright.
Sunny and bright. And bright.
On February 5, 1960, Jesse performed at a concert in Little Rock, Arkansas. The show was one of the first integrated concerts in the segregated South, and tensions were high. White supremacists in the audience booed and threatened the performers throughout the night.
My love. May tomorrow.
After the show, Jesse, his wife Joanne, and their driver Charles Shackelford left Little Rock, heading to their next performance. Just outside Hope, Arkansas, their Cadillac crashed head-on into an oncoming vehicle at high speed.
You closer to me.
All three died at the scene. Jesse was only 27 years old. The circumstances surrounding the crash were suspicious. The tires on Jesse's car appeared to have been tampered with, possibly loosened by racists who had threatened him after the concert. No proper investigation was ever conducted. Jesse Belvin's death robbed R&B of one of its brightest stars, and many believe it was murder disguised as an accident.
And bring you closer.
Number 8, Sam Cooke, A Change Is Gonna Come. Sam Cooke was called the King of Soul, the man with the golden voice who crossed over from gospel to become one of the biggest stars in music. But on December 11, 1964, Sam died under circumstances so suspicious that conspiracy theories persist to this day. Born in Clarksdale, Mississippi in 1931, Sam Cooke rose to fame as the lead singer of the gospel group The Soul Stirrers. When he crossed over to secular music in 1957, purists were shocked, but Sam's talent was undeniable. Hits like You Send Me, Cupid, Wonderful World, and Twistin' the Night Away made him a superstar. But Sam wasn't just an entertainer. He owned his own record label and publishing company, rare for a black artist at that time. He wrote A Change Is Gonna Come as a civil rights anthem. Sam Cooke was building an empire and using his platform for social justice.
Oh, yes it will. One more thing.
On the night of December 10th, 1964, Sam checked into the Hacienda Motel in Los Angeles with a woman named Elisa Boyer.
A change gonna come. Oh.
According to Boyer's testimony, Sam became aggressive, so she grabbed her clothes and ran. She said Sam chased her in only a sports jacket and shoes. When Boyer fled, Sam went to the motel office demanding to know where she went.
And I go downtown.
The motel manager, Bertha Franklin, claimed Sam broke into the office and attacked her. She grabbed a gun and shot him 3 times.
A long time coming.
Sam Cooke died at the scene. He was 33 years old. The official verdict was justifiable homicide, but many details didn't add up.
Knocking me. Oh.
Sam's family believed he was murdered, possibly because of his business success and activism. His death remains one of the most controversial in music history.
Before we go any further, if this music is bringing back memories or creating new ones, this channel was made for you. Groove Lens is about keeping soul music alive, not just the hits, but the history behind them. So tap subscribe, settle in, and let's keep walking through this together. Because the best stories are still coming.
Number 7, Otis Redding, Sittin' on the Dock of the Bay. Otis Redding had just recorded what would become his signature song. Sitting on the Dock of the Bay was still unfinished, but Otis knew it was special.
Just drift right into space.
3 days later, his plane crashed into a frozen Wisconsin lake, and the King of Soul was gone. Born in Dawson, Georgia in 1941, Otis Redding became the voice of Stax Records and Southern soul music. His raw, passionate vocals on songs like Try a Little Tenderness, I've Been Loving You Too Long, and Respect established him as one of the greatest soul singers ever.
You know, when I come home feeling tired and weak, I go.
In June 1967, Otis performed at the Monterey Pop Festival, winning over a predominantly white rock audience. He was crossing over to mainstream success while maintaining his credibility with R&B fans.
It's getting down, and people are just too much.
At 26 years old, Otis was entering the prime of his career with unlimited potential ahead of him. On December 10, 1967, Otis and his band, the Bar-Kays, boarded a twin-engine Beechcraft plane heading to Madison, Wisconsin for a concert.
I'm way up to the top of the stairs, and all my kids.
The weather was terrible, with freezing rain and thick fog reducing visibility. As the plane approached Madison's Truax Field Airport, it crashed into Lake Monona just 4 miles from the runway.
Only place I know.
Otis Redding and 4 members of the Bar-Kays died instantly. Only 2 band members survived. Otis was 26 years old. Sitting on the dock of the bay was released posthumously in January 1968.
And all that rat race noise down in the street.
It became Otis's only #1 pop hit and the first posthumous single to top the charts. The song's melancholy tone and unfinished whistle at the end feel like a ghost singing from beyond the grave, a heartbreaking reminder of everything Otis Redding could have been.
I get away from the hustling crowd.
Number 6. Rudy Lewis, Up on the Roof.
When this old world stops.
Rudy Lewis was the voice behind some of the Drifters' biggest hits, including Up on the Roof and On Broadway.
Up where the air is fresh and sweet.
But on the morning he was supposed to record their next potential smash hit, Rudy was found dead in his hotel room under mysterious circumstances.
Where you just have to.
Born in Chicago in 1936, Rudy Lewis joined the Drifters in 1960, replacing the legendary Ben E. King. That's a tough act to follow, but Rudy made the role his own.
On the only place I.
His warm, smooth tenor was perfect for the sophisticated production style of Lieber and Stoller. Rudy sang lead on massive hits like Some Kind of Wonderful, Please Stay, and Up on the Roof.
Let's go up on the roof.
His voice had an earnest quality that made every song feel personal. The Drifters were one of the most successful R&B groups of the early 60s, and Rudy Lewis was their star. He was reliable, talented, and beloved by fans and bandmates alike.
You just have to wish to make it so.
On May 20th, 1964, the Drifters were scheduled to record Under the Boardwalk, a song everyone believed would be another huge hit. That morning, Rudy Lewis was found dead in his room at the Hotel Taft in New York City. The official cause of death was listed as a suspected drug overdose, though no autopsy was performed and the circumstances were never fully investigated. Rudy was only 27 years old. The Drifters were devastated, but the recording session couldn't be postponed. Johnny Moore, who had previously sung with the group, stepped in that same day and recorded Under the Boardwalk. The song became a massive hit, but it was supposed to be Rudy's moment.
At night,
To this day, questions remain about what really happened in that hotel room and why such a promising life ended so suddenly and mysteriously.
the stars put on a show for me.
Number 5. Tammi Terrell, Ain't No Mountain High Enough.
Not enough, baby.
If you need me, call me.
Tammi Terrell and Marvin Gaye were Motown's perfect duet partners, creating timeless classics like Ain't No Mountain High Enough.
Ain't no mountain low enough.
But behind Tammy's beautiful smile was a woman suffering from a brain tumor and a history of abuse that would tragically end her life at just 24.
I'll be there when you want me some way, somehow.
Born Thomasina Montgomery in Philadelphia in 1945, Tammi began performing as a teenager, even touring with James Brown.
I told you you could always count on.
She signed with Motown in 1965 and was paired with Marvin Gaye for a series of duets. Their chemistry was magical. Songs like Ain't Nothing Like the Real Thing, You're All I Need to Get By, and Ain't No Mountain High Enough became instant classics. Tammy's voice was powerful yet sweet, blending perfectly with Marvin's smooth tenor. But Tammy's personal life was troubled. She had been in an abusive relationship with singer David Ruffin of The Temptations, who allegedly beat her severely on multiple occasions.
Ain't no mountain
On October 14, 1967, while performing with Marvin Gaye at Hampton-Sydney College in Virginia, Tammi collapsed on stage in Marvin's arms. She was diagnosed with a malignant brain tumor. Some believe the tumor was caused by blows to the head from previous abuse. Tammi underwent 8 operations over the next 3 years, but the cancer was too aggressive. She lost her ability to walk and talk.
I'll be there when you want me some way, somehow.
Marvin was so devastated he refused to record their duets with Tammi present, so Motown had Valerie Simpson secretly record Tammy's parts.
Keep me from getting to you, baby.
On March 16, 1970, Tammi Terrell died. She was only 24 years old. Marvin Gaye never fully recovered from her death. He fell into deep depression and refused to perform for years.
Darling, from that day on, I made a vow.
Tammy's story is a reminder that behind the glamour of Motown was real pain and tragedy. Number 4, Florence Ballard, Where Did Our Love Go?
Baby, don't leave me.
Florence Ballard was a founding member of the Supremes, Motown's most successful act. But after being forced out of the group she helped build, Florence's life spiraled into poverty, depression, and alcoholism, ending with her death on welfare at just 32 years old.
You came into my heart now.
Born in Detroit in 1943, Florence Blondie Ballard formed the Supremes with Mary Wilson and Diana Ross in 1959. Originally called the Primettes, they were the female counterpart to the Temptations.
Baby, you wanna leave me.
Florence had the strongest voice of the three and was initially considered the lead singer, but Motown's Berry Gordy had other plans. He pushed Diana Ross to the front, renaming the group Diana Ross and the Supremes. Florence was relegated to background vocals despite having superior vocal power. The Supremes became the most successful Motown act, with 12 #1 hits including Where Did Our Love Go?, Baby Love, and Stop in the Name of Love. By 1967, Florence's frustration had turned to rebellion. She began drinking heavily, missing shows, and gaining weight. Berry Gordy saw her as a problem and forced her out of the group she had co-founded.
You wanna leave me behind.
Florence was given a settlement of less than $150,000 for her share of the Supremes, with conditions that prevented her from speaking negatively about Motown or Diana Ross. Her solo career failed to launch. Bad management and legal battles drained her money. By the early 70s, Florence was living in poverty in Detroit, on welfare with 3 children.
Ooh, don't you want me?
On February 21, 1976, Florence Ballard died of cardiac arrest caused by coronary thrombosis. She was 32 years old and nearly penniless. The woman who had sung on some of the biggest hits in music history died broken forgotten, a victim of an industry that used her up and threw her away.
Our love forevermore.
Number 3, Little Willie John, Fever.
I'll never use and just believe in what my lips have to say.
Little Willie John recorded the original version of Fever in 1956, creating one of the most iconic songs in R&B history.
When you kiss me, fever when you hold me tight.
But Willie's hot temper would lead to a fatal stabbing, a murder conviction, and his death in prison at just 30 years old.
Sun lights up the daytime.
Born William Edward John in Cullendale, Arkansas, in 1937, Little Willie John moved to Detroit as a child. Despite standing only 5'4", Willie had a voice that could shake buildings.
Right, you give me fever.
He influenced James Brown, who called Willie the greatest singer of his time. Willie's hits included All Around the World, Need Your Love So Bad, and his signature song, Fever. His version of Fever reached #1 on the R&B charts in 1956, years before Peggy Lee's famous cover. Willie's voice had a raw intensity that made every song feel urgent and dangerous. He was a star performer with hit records and a growing reputation, but Willie also had a violent temper fueled by alcohol. On October 12, 1964, at a club in Seattle, Willie got into an argument with a man named Kendall Roundtree. The fight escalated, and Willie stabbed Roundtree. Roundtree died from his injuries, and Willie was charged with murder. He claimed self-defense, but the jury didn't believe him. Willie was convicted of manslaughter and sentenced to 8 to 20 years in Walla Walla State Penitentiary. Behind bars, Willie's health deteriorated rapidly. He suffered a heart attack in 1967 and never fully recovered. On May 26, 1968, little Willie John died in prison. He was only 30 years old. The official cause was listed as a heart attack, but many believe Willie died from a broken spirit. The greatest voice of his generation was silenced in a prison cell, his legacy overshadowed by tragedy and violence. Number 2, Clyde McPhatter, A Lover's Question.
Does she love me with all her heart?
Clyde McPhatter was one of the most influential voices in the birth of rock and roll and R&B. He founded the Drifters and had major solo hits like A Lover's Question. But alcoholism destroyed his career, his health, and ultimately his life.
Does she need me as she breathes?
Born in Durham, North Carolina in 1932, Clyde McPhatter possessed one of the most distinctive voices in music history. His high tenor with gospel-influenced melisma influenced everyone from Jackie Wilson to Smokey Robinson.
Is this a game?
In 1953, Clyde founded the Drifters, revolutionizing R&B with hits like Money Honey. After going solo in 1955, he scored major hits including A Lover's Question, Lover Please, and Without Love.
With me.
Clyde was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame twice, once as a member of the Drifters and once as a solo artist. His vocal style essentially created the template for soul music that would dominate the 60s.
True to me.
But by the mid-60s, Clyde's career was in decline. Musical tastes were changing and his drinking had become uncontrollable.
True to me.
The alcohol ravaged his once magnificent voice and destroyed his ability to perform reliably. Gigs dried up, money disappeared. His personal life fell apart through multiple failed marriages.
Really real. Oh, tell me where.
By 1970, Clyde was living in obscurity in the Bronx, New York, drinking heavily every day and struggling with depression. On June 13, 1972, Clyde McPhatter died of complications from liver and kidney disease caused by years of alcohol abuse. He was only 39 years old. At his funeral, only a handful of people attended.
It's a lover's question. I'd like to know.
The man who had influenced an entire generation of singers died poor, forgotten, and alone. His death certificate listed his occupation as unknown, a crushing end for one of music's true pioneers.
I'd like to know when we're kissing.
Number 1, Frankie Lymon, Why Do Fools Fall in Love? At just 13 years old, Frankie Lymon became the youngest rock and roll star in history when Why Do Fools Fall in Love hit number 1 in 1956. But by 25, Frankie was dead from a heroin overdose, destroyed by the industry that made him famous. Born in Harlem, New York in 1942, Frankie Lymon formed Frankie Lymon and the Teenagers while still in middle school. Why Do Fools Fall in Love became a massive crossover hit, selling millions and making Frankie an international sensation. He was the first black teenage pop star, appearing in movies and touring the world. His high, innocent voice and baby face made him a phenomenon. But Frankie's success came with a dark side. He was barely a teenager, suddenly famous and wealthy, managed by adults who exploited him. The music industry gave him money and fame, but no guidance or protection. By 15, Frankie was already experimenting with drugs, something his handlers either ignored or enabled. By the early 60s, Frankie's career had collapsed. His voice changed during puberty, ruining his signature sound. Record labels dropped him. His money disappeared, stolen by managers and spent on drugs. Frankie had become addicted to heroin by his late teens. For the next several years, Frankie cycled through failed comeback attempts and rehab programs. He was married 3 times, though at least one marriage was likely bigamous. He worked odd jobs and lived in poverty in Harlem, a forgotten child star trapped in a nightmare. On February 27, 1968, Frankie Lymon was found dead on the bathroom floor of his grandmother's apartment in Harlem. He had died from a heroin overdose. There was a syringe by his body. Frankie was only 25 years old. The child who had sung about fools falling in love had become the ultimate cautionary tale. The music industry had chewed him up and spit him out before he was old enough to vote. His death certificate listed his occupation as laborer, a heartbreaking end for someone who had once been one of the biggest stars in the world.
I do fool.